Hello and welcome to the Everyday Board Game Podcast with your host Daniel.
And Daniel.
I just looked in the camera footage. My hair is going wild right now. I apologize
What
for all
else
of
is
our
new?
viewers. Well, normally it's a little crazy, but I literally just took a shower before this, and as soon as I stepped
Thank
out
God.
of my car, yeah, right, for yours and my benefit, and as soon as I stepped out of the car, just a burst of wind just hit me. I was like, whoa! Thought it was all right, but then now that I was looking down so much, filling out this list, oof, I apologize to the people who had to see that.
Why I wear hats. You don't have to really see my bad hair days.
My hair is too nice to wear hats. I'm sorry.
No, it is not.
It's beautiful.
It is not.
Absolutely. Anyway, that's ridiculous. Speaking of how bad my hair is, let's talk about today's episode. Biggest letdowns.
I know that your big thing was we were talking about it. You're like, hey, we're finally going to do something that's going to put negativity in the world. I'm like, well, not really. I can still talk positive about these games. They were just a letdown for me.
Yeah, exactly. You and I both came up with this list, or the topic idea when we were talking to our mutual friend, Damn It Dumb.
Yeah.
And
and Gamehead Geek, too.
And Gamehead Geek. And we're just talking about, all the games that we've convinced each other to buy, and all of these great games, and all this stuff. It's not everything's been a hit. And then we just, the natural discussion of, we haven't been let down that much by games. It's then you brought it in, you're like, no.
No.
We have.
No,
we have. And out of all of these, I think we're going to have only a crossover.
Yeah,
one.
I think there's going to be maybe two, but for sure one. I think I know, because you and me both played it at the same time and felt that one.
Yeah, we felt the hurt. Yeah, there might be a second one.
And there's a combination of my letdowns. It could be because it's a designer that I love and the game just didn't hit for whatever reason. It could have been a theme that I really do enjoy, and it didn't hit. I also have an honorable mention on my list. Basically a ninth game. The reason why it's not actually in my top 8, because I haven't played the game yet, but when I talk about it, everybody will understand why it's a disappointment for me.
Yeah, and same here. I have one of those as well that we're going to. So that'll be a fun one. But before we get into that, you and I have been playing a lot of games lately. And even
hint,
before
bonus
that,
episode.
That's right. We're filming 2 episodes today. A little peek behind the curtains. But not only that, we're also running a contest. We're super busy this time around.
Yeah, this is a very busy June.
Yeah, it is.
And the thing is, we're running 2 episodes this week. We're going to run 2 episodes next week as well, because I'm getting ready to go on a trip, and we want to be able to have a little bit of coverage while I'm gone. This way I can get everything edited and put up there. And so, there's a contest. Again, we're talking about a bonus episode at the end of the month. But the main one you need to pay attention to is the ones that are for the giveaway. It is the 4 major episodes. The Top 8 debate, which just aired today, actually. Mm-hmm. So that was your first code word for one of these 2 games over here. We're also going to do it on this one, the Chits Giggles. The next episode, which is Board Game Breakdown. And then the final episode of Board Game Brainstorm. That bonus episode will not have a code word. You can still listen to it, which will help us out. But it's not part of the giveaway.
Yeah, please don't ignore listening to it just because there's no code word.
Yeah.
That's kind of the incentive of these.
Yeah.
Is we want you guys to hear our episodes. So later on, we're going to be giving a code word and tell you all the ways to enter for a chance to win one of these 2 lovely games.
And then again, your choice is you get to pick the deluxe edition of Canvas or Glorified World at Monsters. Whatever one does not get picked by the winner will be going to a future giveaway.
There you go. So, we're looking forward to that. With that being said, Daniel, what have you been playing lately?
All right, playing off of my last week's episode where we're talking about Star Wars Day, here's the other 2 games that I want to talk about that we've been playing, plus some other stuff that were really fun. The first one I'm going to talk about is one that I really thoroughly enjoy, even though it is a bit of a longer Star Wars game. You're not a huge fan of this one, mainly because of the length of it. But I did get to play the new Star Wars Outer Rim with the Unfinished Business expansion. And we didn't use all the modalities. We just used some of the newer characters, the newer cards. One of my favorite things that this thing added was that you can basically do wormhole jumps in a sense, where you can go from one side of the board to the complete opposite side of the board without having to go through the dang board, which could be... It was part of the gripe of Unfinished Business is I need to go... I'm here on this side, but the planet that has the guy I need for my bounty is way over there, which means I have to go all through here, through all these characters, or the I can't remember what the patrols. So the Empire Patrol, the Hutt Patrol, and the Rebel Alliance Patrol, and depending on where I'm sitting on the board with those, I always have to stop my flight unless I am in positive with them. So it's like, okay, this is nice. I can go this way, take a risk going through this, and then I can be on that side of the board a lot quicker. That was very helpful on that aspect. It is still fun. We played a shorter game where normally the game is you're supposed to play to 10 points. We played the shorter game where it was the first one to 8 points, and even then we shortened it again to the first person to 7 points because it was long. I got to play some of the newer characters, which is really cool. I got to play Cad Bane, and that was really fun. He's one of my favorite... I guess expanded universe, but not expanded. That the Legends universe is what it's called now. It's more the Disney expanded universe. He's a bounty hunter that was introduced in some of the cartoons that Disney did, or Clone Wars, and I really did enjoy his character and what he was doing. But man, is he tough to play because it's all about getting fame. And every time I'm supposed to get at least one fame, I ignore the fame and I just get money off of it. So I needed to get something that gives me more than one fame, and everything that I was picking up only gave me one fame. It's like, I can't get my fame growing here, even though I started with 2 fame. So he was a bit interesting to play. All in all, I really dig this game. I have a fantastic time with it, and I want to dig more into it, but again, it's super long. If you play it to the full 10, you'll be in there. If you play four players to the full 10 fame, you could be in there for about 3 to 4 hours. It is a fun game, but I do like what it does, but it's long.
That's the only reason I'm not the biggest fan of it. It's just because I feel like at a certain point, it's like, okay, we played it.
One of the modules is supposed to shorten the game a little bit. We didn't play with that because it had a whole new rule set. It basically gives you a track that you have to go down to meet. And it's still going to be a long game. It's supposed to shorten it because you're just playing to do that track on that module.
Sense. Cool. All right, the first game I want to talk about today is like the most micro game I think I've ever played in a long time. This game is called Pray Another Day. It's by Brett J. Gilbert and Matthew Dunstan.
Interesting.
And it was printed a few years ago, and it has some of the brightest, most colorful art I've ever seen in a game. It looks like it's like a children's books, like kind of art. Mm-hmm. Like it's very, very distinctive. And the way it works is everyone just gets a set of the same cards. You have 5 cards numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And they each have animals associated with them. I think it's like a bear. I forgot what the second one is. A wolf, lynx, owl, and then mouse, right? And you have some cardboard tokens. Oh, and a reference card, but that's it. So there's a bunch of tokens. First to get 5 tokens, food tokens wins. And each round you play up to 3 turns, depending on if people are still lasting. And whoever plays the highest total of their cards would win. So if I play a 3, a 4, and a 5, I have like 12 points. If you played a 2, a 3, and a 4, you have only 9 points. Makes sense, right? So here's how the game works, though. And this is what makes it interesting. The bigger the number, the better they're potentially going to be. Hey, Board Game Bard. The better they're going to be for you if you survive, because they're nimble and they can get food really quick and dine and dash, you know?
Yeah.
However, the more powerful the animal, the more likely you're going to eat the other players. And the way that works is really simple. Everyone chooses a card from their hand. Let's just imagine whatever number you would pick, right? I put mine down, and then we listen in order. 1. If one person, or if nobody flips over their card, nothing happens. You go to the next number. If one person flips over their card, they can go on a hunt. But if 2 or more people flip over that same number, then they're too busy arguing about who's going to hunt, and then they waste their turn. They still survive, but they're not part of eliminating other players. So let's say I'm the one who flips over the number 2 and I'm the only one. And that means I can eat any of the smaller animals, either a 3, a 4, or a 5. So I just name what number. If anybody had that number already played, they're eliminated for the round. So you can see how the benefit works pretty well. Once you play a card, it stays in front of you. And there was multiple times and multiple silly instances where you flip over a card and then you say the number 4, and one person flips over, and then he looks at the only other player who hasn't flipped their card over yet, and you're like, all right, I'll see myself out kind of attitude, you know? It's like, because you know what I have. Otherwise, I would have flipped it up, right? Yeah. But I was trying to go for a big number, and that's the risk. That mouse is risky, right? Yeah. But I was like, I could have sworn you would play a 2, so you would have to guess either a 2, 3, and 4. Like, nobody would play a mouse on the first turn. Of course not. But there's a lot of that Princess Bride, like, well, if I do this, then that means you have to do this.
Yeah.
Or since you haven't revealed your number yet, then clearly this. But I know you're going to do that. And therefore, I'm going to go in an earlier number just so I can eliminate you and know exactly what you're going to play.
Just give yourself a tolerance to the poison.
Yeah, exactly. Give yourself tolerance to the poison. So that's the whole premise. And it's stupid. But it works. It works really well. So I liked it. Pray Another Day, Matthew Dunstan, Brett J. Gilbert, and I think Pegasus Spiel is the one that printed it.
All right, and finally, the last game I played on Star Wars Day, we only played 3 because, again, Outer Rim took a long time.
Sure.
Is an actual 4-player game of Star Wars, the deck building game, which you have to go onto Fantasy Flight and download rules on how it actually works, which is kind of interesting because the base games are basically just 2 players. We played the base game plus the new Clone Wars edition. The red team was basically the same, and then the blue team were teammates and stuff like that. So it was the guys versus the girls in this case. Mm-hmm. And we basically got throttled by our wives. You have to basically take out...
Sir, is this a family show?
Yeah. You have to take out 6 bases, I think. It's 3 for each team, and they're basically a group, in a sense... Because the person over across from me, basically my wife, can actually go after my buddy Angel's planets and so forth. Yeah. The only thing is that you cannot buy from the other team's line, I guess you could say. So if my wife and me, which we were playing the Clone Wars edition, the cards were basically fit for us, so we bought from that line. But I can target Maria's stuff, our friend's wife across the table, and my wife's planets as well. Or their bases as well, because the bases will protect both sets of planets. All in all, it's pretty simple, straightforward. If you like the 2-player game, you'll be fine with the 4-player game. It's just interesting when you're trying to remember, okay, I can attack that. Oh, wait, you have a base out, so I got to attack that first. And they're sitting catty corner from you. We play a lot of games. I'm not used to messing with the person that catty corner to me because usually it's my neighbors, which is the guy across from me or the guy next to me. Yeah. Not the catty wampus guy over here, which is usually you. But it was interesting. I like it. I love both sets. I think both of them are really cool with what they do. They're pretty much the same sets in a way. As one team is the Separatists in the Clone Wars, whereas the other one's the Republic, which is basically the Jedis. And the other one is the Rebel Alliance, which is basically the Jedis. And the other one's the Empire, which are the bad guys. So it's interesting how it worked. It really had some cool, neat... if you like the deck building game, the 4-player game is going to hit fine for you. Our wives basically, we took 2 of their planets. They took all 6 of ours. We took 1 of each from them, and then we just got demolished. My wife had a combo where she did like 16 attack. Took my planet, took my buddy's planet, both our ships out in 1 turn. It's like, you've got to be kidding me. It's like, I do this, and this combos with this, and then I do this, and this combos with this, and then I got all this, and it's like, are you done yet? No, hold on, I gotta do this, and this, and this.
No, this, yep.
And I'm dead here, and I'm dead here, and I have no more planets, you have 1 more planet, we're screwed. That kind of thing. So, Star Wars, the deck building game, at 4 players, at 2 players, both are fine. I prefer 2, it just feels quicker and snappier. But, all in all, pretty fun.
All right, next game I want to talk about. This last game night, my personal game night that I hold, I had quite a few people. We had 7 people, actually 8 at one point. Even my wife joined in on a game or 2, so which was great. But prior to that, we played a game at 7 players, and I had this game in my collection for a little while that I found in an antique store. This is from 1938, and it's called Edgar Burgeon's and Charlie McCarthy's Game of Toppers. Now, it's the most shenanigan thing. And I bought it because I thought there was a deck of cards in it. And it kind of technically did. It has 36 cards. But I didn't know that. Yeah. But I bought it, and it also has little wooden top hats. So I was like, even better, right? You know, every game's better with a top hat, you know.
Sure.
That's one of my golden rules. That or a 5x5 grid, right? You know. They're good games. So we played this game.
You're showing your age.
We played this game. The idea of how it works is you have... they even explain what books are. Like in... Not a physical book, but what a book and playing cards are. And that's 4 of a kind of the same number, right? Mm-hmm. So 4 aces would be a book of aces, right? You know, yeah. That makes sense. So, the idea is you get 4 cards, a book per player. And so we had 7 players, so we played the numbers 1 through 7. You shuffle them all up, deal out 4 cards per player, and all simultaneously you deal one, or you pass one card to the left, then you get it, pass one card to the left, take it, and we're doing this simultaneously, right?
You're doing a pick and pass draft from the 1930s?
Yeah, kind of. But here's the thing. In the middle of the table, there's a board, which was actually the other side of the rule page that was just flat. And you put one fewer toppers, or top hats, than the number of players. When one person has a completed book in their hand, they grab a top hat, and then that means everyone has to grab a top hat, and then the person who failed in doing so scores one of the points. Points are bad.
Hold on. You're basically playing pick and pass musical chairs.
This, apparently, so some of our listeners may already know this. This is a game commonly known as Spoons. I had never played Spoons before, prior to this moment. And half of the table was like, oh yeah, we know Spoons. Yeah, sure. Like, we'll just play Spoons. Fine. Yeah. Like, okay, it's been around for a while. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And, like, we put on ragtime music. We were having a good old time, like, looking at this smug, like, character named Charlie McCarthy. I started telling my mom this. And she was born in, like, I think late 40s. She was like, I know what Charlie McCarthy is. Apparently it's, like, a smug cartoon character. Right?
Yeah.
And maybe, like, it's always wearing a suit and just looks
I tell you, you described a pick and pass musical chairs board game. And I get it, Spoons, yeah.
Yeah, that's 87 years old. And it was the best game of the night. It was so good. We played some party games. We had a good time. Like, we didn't play bad games, but, like, that one was the top. And it goes to show, and Board Game Bard, you're saying, Spoons is the GOAT. Yeah. I had never played it before, and I see why. Like,
you never played Spoons?
I never played Spoons before this.
Wow.
Never had. I've played Pit, and I felt like this was a similar flavor to it, and which it kind of is, right?
I played Spoons growing up. That was one of the few games that we as kids played when everybody else was playing Pinochle or that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good old time. So Edgar Burgeon's and Charlie McCarthy's Game of Toppers was grand old game. Great time. Fun time.
Oh, that's interesting. So pick and pass drafting you enjoyed.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so
really it wasn't.
It was pick and pass.
It wasn't drafting because you're not like forced to keep what you have. You're just passing cards. It's just passing.
It's basically.
But I did pick them.
See, you're slipping.
Yep, I admit. Out of all the old school games, I need to start playing more.
All right, so the next game I'm going to talk about on my list, which is basically a hint of what we're going to be talking about in the next episode. So pay attention for that next week, or if you're live later. Is a actual Kinderspiel winner. You were actually not able to play this with us because there was that whole shenanigans where you had to step out for family obligations.
Yep.
In the next two, I'm going to talk about our games we played, and you came over because you had to pick up the key from me.
Yep.
And you're like, you guys suck because these were good games. The first one I'm talking about is Living Forest. Damn it, Dom wanted to get this played. I vaguely remembered how to play it. I just reread the rules real quick. And it was one of those where I just had to understand it again for me to actually get it rememberized. But it's fairly simple. You're doing one of the actions, and then your guy's moving across the board and doing different stuff. Kinderspiel winner. Fantastic little push your luck because you're drawing your cards out, and then I'm like, I'm doing this, and I can do this action since I didn't bust. But if I do bust, I can do one of these actions. But if I just do this one specific action, then I can combo it off of what this does over here based on the action that I'm taking. So I enjoy every bit about it. It's probably one of my favorite Kinderspiel winners, just because how simple it is. The artwork is fantastic. It's one of the best looking Kinderspiel winners.
Yep.
It's well produced. And I like the fact that it's the first to hit one of the in-game goals. There's 4 of them. It's like someone has to either get a set amount of trees. I think it's like 12 trees, distinct trees. Another one, and you have to still have your victory points. And the whole thing is when you cross someone on that little board, you get to steal their victory point tokens. It doesn't matter if it's yours or you steal your victory point token back. It's just that you have to make sure you have your victory point token for you to score that victory point in-game. First person to hit the 12 on the point totals by the push your luck aspect of the cards. I loved everything about this game. It's very simple, very quick. Living Forest is a phenomenal game.
Great. The next game I want to talk about was a game that I brought to our weekly game night. It was my choice this time. I'll be talking about two of those. And both of these...
It was all trash.
Board Game Bard, the new Landlords game. Let me tell you, that's... That'll do you 1-4, let me tell you. This first one was like almost a weird take on Mancala. And it had very clever little art. And we played 12 turns... filling up our cruise ship.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, this was a fantastic one.
Yeah, Come Sail Away by Sashi and Sashi.
This was my second favorite of the night. I still like the other one better.
Yeah, this was just so fun. It's Come Sail Away. You're filling in passengers. They're different colored passengers, and you fill them into their corresponding rooms, kind of like a hotel. Or you're also sending them to like communal tables that they can have dinner together. Or you can have like a lounge area where there's 4 different chairs.
Yeah.
Yep. There's times where you'll be, if you get certain passengers into certain areas, you move up the luggage track. And sponsored by Styx. Yeah, exactly. That threw me off. Well done, Barney Bart. And so you get these bonus rooms that you can add on there for more points as well. It was fairly combo-tastic, I felt. Like, I really enjoyed scoring one thing, planning out where you're going to put them, what path you're going to do. Are you going to wait to actually add on better, or wait to fill in certain rooms, or are you going to add on more over here? Where are you going to put the bonus rooms? How are you going to place the meeples? Are you going to put them in the center, or are you going to throw them away and get penalized by them? There's so many different choices. I do not get distracted easy. And yes, I responded specifically because you put that. But yeah, it was just a lovely little game, and it played simultaneously over 12 turns. It did technically have pick and pass drafting, as you pointed out.
Technically.
We just chose one of our two options, and
instead
of just
the extra option goes to the other person.
Yeah, instead of discarding it, it's just you pass and you draw a new one out of your hand. So, I mean, not really pick and pass, but...
it's pick and pass.
Enough.
You pick one and pass the other. So that's pick and pass.
I know.
By definition.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying it's technically a pick and pass. But despite that, it was still really good.
Yeah, and then what's even funnier about it is when we're doing the pick and pass, one of them doesn't get played or something like that.
Yep.
No, I dug it. I thought it was a fantastic game. It did really, really well. It's ugly as sin, though. I mean, it's one of the better ones coming out from Sashi and Sashi, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is not a good looker. The table presence is fine, but the artwork style and the art style is kind of compared to some of the other games that you actually had played.
I brought some beautiful games.
Yeah, for once, yeah. For once.
Sir.
So, yeah, but all in all, I did enjoy that one.
Yeah. So, Come Sail Away.
My last game I'm going to talk about here is another one this was the one that you were kind of like, man, that you didn't get to play that one. And you actually came when we were actually in the middle of this game, and this game was Middle Ages.
Yeah.
Great look for this one, like the stained glass, medieval look, fantastic look alone, in a small box for that matter. Love the drafting mechanism in this one, a la King Domino, is basically, I'm going to decide where I'm going to go. The pick that I draft determines where I'm going to draft in the next round. So if I get the first tile, I'm going to be drafting the first tile in the next round. If I go for a later tile, that means I'm going to the back end of the draft. I love that aspect of it. And you're drafting one of these tiles, and you're building up a section of your medieval thing, and you're triggering powers depending on the section that you're at. Sometimes you want to have more towers than another player. Sometimes you want to have more treasure than another player, because those things are going to score you. So you have a lot of decision space in here for such a small game. Studio H knocked it out of the park with this one.
Looks beautiful, too.
What's even funny about this one is the designer, this specific designer, I'm okay with his first design that he's very famous for. This is Splendor, a Marc Andre.
Oh, okay.
I prefer this game. I would play this over Splendor any day of the week, unless it's the Pokemon one, because I really do like that one. That one's really neat.
Lovely about that one.
But it is a fantastic, fun draft. I love how it combos. Like, I did this and I did this. Now I have more towers than you, so you got to lose one of your things and put it in the graveyard. So I like how that is. I went all in on military, really, and that's how I won the game, because I went military and I was making them destroy things, so they had to go and dig into the graveyard to get their buildings back. I put my towers all the way up as much as you can, so no one can beat me on towers, and I made sure to take towers to the point where towards the end of the game, they were hate drafting towers away from me. Didn't do them any good.
Yep.
But all in all, this is a damn it Dom game through and through, to the point where if I find a copy out in the wild, I'm going to pick myself up a copy of it, because I really did dig it. This was Middle Ages from Studio H.
Cool. And the last game I want to talk about was the final game, or not the final game, but the one that we all collectively agreed was like pretty much one of the best games that we played that night. This is Adulthood from Brotherwise Games.
This was my favorite game.
Yeah, I was intrigued by it for a long time, and I saw it at Barnes. I was like, okay, you know what, I'll give it a try. And I bought it purely because, for one, it's not that expensive. It's like $30. Pretty good. And decent components for $30.
The board sucks, though, because it...
yeah, it's a little wobbly, but a little stiff. But then, on top of it, on the back of it, it had some silly artwork. Like it would say, live with a beautiful lifestyle, and then it had like a picture of like somebody holding up like rent due now. It's like manage your money, and it says tax evasion. It's like a mattress stuff with dollar bills, you know.
Yeah.
And just like silly stuff, right? So I was like, okay, I'll buy it for the humor alone. I can appreciate that. But it was a cool little engine building game. But what made it really cool is that, yes, it's an engine building game. You have basically your own worker placement board. You choose how you're going to allot all of your 8 time meeples, as they call them. They're little wooden bits that look like clocks. They're kind of square-ish.
Yeah.
Kind of weird. But you place them out on your board, and as you get new cards, you get like new career paths, partners, lifestyles, whatever, and you're changing the abilities that you're going to gain. You're trying to build this engine. You're trying to gain up reputation or positive impact on the community. I forgot what it's called, but it's thumbs up.
Yeah.
And happiness. And they're opposing tracks.
Social impact, I think.
Yeah, social impact, something like that. And they're opposing tracks, and they're going the opposite way. And once they cross, then that triggers the end of the game. Everyone finishes playing out, and then whoever has the most points from there wins. Now, there's life events. There's times where you become grown up. They could be good, could be bad. There's a little bit of random in it, but I mean, that's life, right? You know, it actually thematically really makes a lot of sense.
Oh, yeah.
You can get married in that. You can go for a promotion. You can do all sorts of stuff. And the way these cards lay out, because of how silly they are and how humorous the artwork is, it doesn't take itself seriously. We were telling stories. We're talking game immersion. We're talking how, like, every time you got any significant other, it was right out the door. Right out the it's like she walked to the front door, left out the back. Right?
Yeah, no,
Straight path through.
It was also kind of hilarious, too, because at one point I was dating this one character, apparently, and I'm a professor. And then I ditched the DJ for a grad student, and then the grad student leaves me, and I'm like, oh no! So I got to marry a celebrity. I don't know what's going on.
Oh darn!
No, I chucked the celebrity for something else, and I ended up marrying a homekeeper or something like that.
Yeah. You were just going through people like no problem. You had a good steady job. Mine was a game designer, and I was like building art studios and like everything.
Oh, you married a graphic designer.
Married a graphic designer. You know, it was like true creativity in our home. Like it just leads to some hilarious conversations, and it's a good game on top of it. Like and I'm just thoroughly impressed with it.
It was just generally fun because it led to itself memorable moments. The game. Oh, I did this and it worked really well. And we were joking with you. Of course, you got the game designer. Of course.
And then our friend Dom got really upset when he was dealt the telemarketer. He was like, I swear, if you give me that card, I'm tearing it up. And he was about to. Oh, man, it was so good. Great components. I'm really impressed with it. That was Adulthood from Brotherwise Games. All right, so now getting into today's topic, we're going to talk about our Chits and Giggles episode, our biggest board game letdowns.
Before that, though, we have a giveaway going on. You could win one of these 2 games that are sitting right behind us. Canvas Deluxe Edition or Horrified World and Monsters. Tell them how they can enter. So, there's a lot of ways you can enter. You can get up to what we call tickets. Basically, every ticket is one possible entry that we pick randomly from the whole pool of tickets. Each person can get up to 10 tickets in different ways. First off, if you follow us on twitch.tv/everydayboardgames,
you will have an automatic ticket. Just by following us, you get notified when we join on, like our friends Board Game Bard and everybody else, like Luminous, some of our regulars. That's one way to do it. You can also subscribe to us. Now, there is a cost to that. There is no cost to enter in our contest, but if you have a subscription, I think it's like $5 a month or something. It's very
or
expensive.
Your Twitch Prime too.
Yeah, or if you have Amazon Prime, and you can use that. Like you get a free Twitch subscription with that. That goes to help support the show. We see a percentage of that we use to help fund the hosting of our episodes. That's really all it is. So that gives you 3 tickets because, like, we understand it's a financial situation.
Yeah.
Next, if you follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/everydayboardgames, you can get another ticket from there. And if you're subscribed to us on YouTube, by all means, like and comment down below. That gets you a ticket as well. youtube.com/everydayboardgames. And finally, the last 4 tickets. This is where you have to actually listen to the episode, which is kind of, the point of why we do these.
Yeah.
If you listen to our episodes, we run it for 4 weeks long during the contest cycle. During those contest episodes, we give you a code word in the middle-ish episode parts of the episode. Sometimes we change it up just to make sure you're listening. So we give you a code word or a code phrase that you can enter. Now go listen to those episodes to get the code phrase. We'll be giving you that here in a minute. And the way you do is you email us at everydayboardgames2020@gmail.com. In the subject line, put the word contest, and in the body, put the code phrase and a way to contact you if you win.
And we also got to let you know this is continental USA only.
Yep.
Sorry, Canada. Sorry, rest of the world. We just can't afford it. Sorry, Alaska. Sorry, Hawaii. It's just all this comes out of our budget.
Yeah, exactly. We pay for these out of pocket. Mm-hmm. But specifically, he pays for it out of his pocket. I help with shipping, but he bought these games on his own. So what can we say? So today's episode, since you have a choice of either getting Horrified, World of Monsters, or Canvas, the deluxe edition, our code phrase is Salvador Dali. So again, include that in the body of the email, subject line contest, and a way to contact you, and email us at everydayboardgames2020@gmail.com. You ready to get into today's episode?
I am.
Biggest letdowns. When we first came up with this episode, what did that mean to you?
Just something that a lot of people talk about it, like how it didn't live up to the hype in a sense. Like, I don't get too much into the hype, but more so, like, some of these things, like, if it's a theme I'm really intrigued by, I want it to work. Yeah. Or if it's like a designer who I adore and it just doesn't work. That's when it's like, oh, wow. I'm surprised that didn't hit. I really like this person's games. Why didn't this one sing to me? Yeah. Or some that everybody really does love, and it's just like, this one did not work for me. It's not on my list here, but I could talk about, like, Splendor. Everybody was talking about Splendor because I talked about Middle Ages at the top of the podcast. Everybody's in love with Splendor. I find it okay at best. I think it's a good game and what it's doing, but it did not live up to the hype for me because the way everybody built it up, and we could talk about games for you that works as well. So, in fact, I think there might be one on your list that's sitting right behind your shoulder over there.
Well, we'll see. It might be. We'll find out. But the thing is, like, when I did this list, I took, but I did a little bit. This is a very personal list, right? I decided that I'm going to put the games on here that I was personally really excited to play. Like, I was the excited to play. In fact, that's actually how I put them in order. The biggest expectation I had for it versus the outcome of it. Yeah. The biggest difference between those, that's how I put them in order.
That's how I put them in order, too. My biggest letdown's my number 1. The other one, or my number 8, basically, is a letdown to me. Yeah. But it's not a major letdown in a sense.
Yeah, exactly. So my number 1 is like the biggest drop, from my excitement for the game versus my reality of the game. That's how big of a gap it was and how disappointed I was. Also, I found out when I was looking and making this list today, it took me, a bit of time, just because I found out that apparently I have pretty low expectations. Or the ones that I expect to be good, I tend to be able to pick out pretty easily.
Yeah, and I think a big part of it, too, is because you combat it with a game designer brain.
Sure.
And so it's like, you're not surprised anymore. Right. It's like, okay, this doesn't work. And you want the quick, simple, elegant turns.
Yeah.
Whereas the rest of our group don't care about the simple, elegant. We want something that's going to give us that gravitas in a sense. Right. Big thing too, I have an honorable mention here that did not make my list. It's a game I haven't played, but it's on my list because of, and we'll get into it when you flip the coin of doom. I know you also have an honorable mention that hit your list because of reasons.
Yeah, because of reasons. Absolutely. So yeah, let's get into this list. Let's see who's going to be going first.
For the honorable mention, that would be you.
All right. So honorable mention. I had an honorable mention on here that it's weird. It's Deckscape, and the reason this was an honorable mention for me is it just barely irked it out. I didn't know what I was going into, other than it's like, oh, it's a small portable escape room.
Yeah.
And I like unlock. I like exits a lot. So I was like, okay, this will probably be fine. I got it at a discount, and it was just the way it handled it. I didn't like the one system that it uses. It basically just says, hey, here's the question. What is this character looking at? Okay, cool. And you say, and all you do is say it out loud, check if you're right or wrong, and then keep track of how many you get right or wrong. It doesn't prevent you from continuing. It doesn't hinder you in any way other than just saying you're an idiot, right? And that's like, imagine going into escape room, right? And this is how I feel. Like, after 5 minutes, they're like, all right, what do you think this answer is? And you're like, clearly blue. They're like, no, it's red, but you can still go to the next room. Why am I doing this room at that point? That was the letdown that I had. There's other systems that do escape rooms really well, and that Deckscape really dropped the ball for me. That was my honorable mention.
All right, so my honorable mention is a game I haven't played, as I mentioned earlier, and that's because it's 3 years late. I crowdfunded this back in 2021. It funded in 2021. It was supposed to arrive either 2022 or 2023. And I usually give a little bit wiggle room.
Sure, yeah.
It is 2025, and they still haven't even produced it. It hasn't been completely produced yet. They're still working on a lot of stuff, and I get it because it's an IP. And this is Stellaris Infinite Legacy.
Yeah.
I get it because it's an IP. They got to work with Paradox about building this game. But the fact of the matter is, they've been not really radio silent, but they hardly given updates. They haven't talked to people. People have asked for a refund. They've denied refunds. This game has nearly 3.5 years late from when it was originally supposed to be out to people. It is nearly 4 years. Actually, it is over 4 years since it funded. And again, I understand everything's coming off of like the COVID when it first published, and so there was going to be that thing, and then of course everything that's going on right now. But Academy Games has really dropped the ball on this one. I was really looking forward to this because it's a legacy game based on a video game I really do enjoy. I love what Academy Games has done. Yeah. This one looked really, really cool, like some of the sculpts for the minis and how all this works, and I really went all in on this one, and to this day, it's my biggest regret of Kickstarters because I still haven't got it yet. I haven't even really been able to look at it. We saw a little bit at a Gamma Expo last year, and I'm like, yeah, I understand. And the thing is, at Gamma last year, the Expo, they were saying, oh, it's probably going to be about August. Well, guess what? We're almost at the next August, and I still haven't got any update on it. They're still working on the rule book. So this was a big letdown for me, to the point where I'll probably play it when I do get it. I don't know if I'll end up keeping it or try to resell it, but we'll see what happens if I ever get it. That's the big thing. But that is Stellaris Infinite Legacy.
Yeah, it lets you down on that hope alone.
Yeah.
All right. So we don't have a top 10. We have a top 8, and you'll notice that because that's our shtick. So let's go into our number 8's biggest letdown.
And starting with me, my biggest letdown, I was talking about it and hinting at it that I may resell this version or this game of it. And this is a game that I really wanted to enjoy because I've liked everything from this company. This is Trick or Treat Studios. And I loved House of a Thousand Corpses. I love the Halloween game. I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The one I don't love is Chucky. It was quite a bit of a disappointment in the fact that the theme is just pasted on. This is the one that really doesn't give you that Chucky feel. Now, the mini-games are cool. I really do enjoy the mini-game aspect of this game where you're doing these different checks. You're trying to get these bonuses. You're trying to get your 3... I forget what it is, but it's what you use for skill checks to get them to a certain point where you get more positives. Or you can, drop them down and never get them back up if you go off the rails. But it's an interesting concept. This could have been any other theme. I know it's their shtick to put a horror theme on it.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't really fit the Chucky theme. You're basically investigators of a murder. We're not trying to find the doll or the voodoo or what's going on in this thing.
Source or whatever.
Yeah, and you have 5 locations. You only use 3 at a time. This is one of the few games where my wife went to me and she's like, this should have been longer. And I don't disagree with her. It's like it's missing something. It's fine for what it does. I do enjoy the game. It's not bad, but it just doesn't give me that horror theme that I was expecting of. I felt like this could have been, I was a detective in LA or something like that, and it would still work. So this would be Chucky from Trick or Treat Studios.
My number 8, this is the only one on my list that I haven't played. And there's a reason for it. Because it's a designer that's, well acclaimed. I tend to like it. It's from a publishing company that's well regarded. The art and the theming were fantastic. And this takes place in Hong Kong. And it's after the electricity goes out and the people start coming up.
Ah, yeah.
And I love that theming. That's such a cool theme. Kind of this city going into like chaos as the lights go out. It's called Blackout Hong Kong. And people just trying to like make do with whatever they can.
Mm-hmm.
I love that theme. And the art, the design was pretty good. I like the art on it. It was one of the least colorblind friendly games I've ever seen.
Yeah, well, you and me were looking at the pieces and you're like, can you see what that is?
Yep.
No, is that red or is that green?
After owning this for nearly like a year and a half, 2 years, I finally just sold it because I was like, I can never get that played.
Yeah, especially you and me would be struggling. We'd have to use Damn It Dom to tell us what they were.
Right. And then there was cards that we had to keep secret from us.
Yep.
If they ever made like a colorblind friendly version, like and put symbols on this stuff, right? I know there was like cubes and stuff of different colors. Like make them a distinctive shape.
No, I was thinking
random.
I was like, I thought they just did reprint of this. No, but I'm thinking of it. The War Is Mine is the one they just did a reprint of.
Yeah. This was so sad that I ended up selling it because I wanted to try it. I don't know if I will ever enjoy this game, but I was hyped to play it, and that's why it's my number 8. Letdown, even though I've never played it. Blackout Hong Kong, getting emotional. No,
allergies.
Yeah.
All right.
Blackout Hong Kong.
Moving to our number 7.
On to our number 7.
All right. With me here is another one that is a theme that I thoroughly enjoy, and I have played this one a couple of times. And my big problem with this game is it's a whole lot of meh. You probably know this one because you even said this one. It's like we do a lot of work for a game that doesn't have a payoff. Yep. And this is Alien Fata Nostromo.
Oh, okay. This wasn't the one I was expecting. Okay. I was about to be like, let's say it together. Nope. Alien wasn't it. Yeah. No, I hear you.
I'm a huge Alien fan. Yeah. There is no juice for the squeeze or how much you're doing in here. There is just, I'm doing this. I'm going to plan to go here, but honestly, if the alien pops up, I have to move like 4 spaces away from where we're going to go, and now I don't have the movement to get into that area. There's no way to mitigate all the different stuff that are going on the board to trigger the end game. We have to do this to hit the self-destruct, and all this. The powers are cool. The player abilities are really neat. They work and are thematic. The little alien mini looks really fantastic. I'm like, if you're going to put anything... And it's relatively inexpensive, too.
Yeah.
But for me, it's a whole lot of meh. And so it's one of the things that I mentioned at the top is like, the way I did my list is I went through every game I rated a 6 or under. Because 6 for me is above average. This is a 5. This is a straight up just average game. There's nothing really broken about it, but there's nothing really... noteworthy. There's no memorable moments in here. I remember all the times I played it. I think I played it 3 or 4 times and just feeling like, yeah, it's fine. It does what it does well. It's basically another one of those co-op style pandemic games. You do some actions and a bad thing happens. It does something a little different. It's like sometimes when you're doing some of those things, it could cause a bad thing to happen. So it has some interesting concepts, but it just doesn't give you the gravitas that you want from an Alien game. When the fact that Awakened Realms, Nemesis, gives you more of an Alien feel than this game, which is based on the Alien theme. Or the series and stuff like that doesn't give you that. I get more from a deck building game when it comes to Alien than I did from this game, The Fate of the Nostromo, which is just basically based on the first movie. So that was a big letdown for me, and I try to like it. I played it multiple times. We replayed it just recently to do a top 8 debate, and you and me were just like, yeah, it doesn't have what we're looking for. It's like, It's cool, it's got some neat concepts, but it did not give me the Alien feel. So, Alien, The Fate of Nostromo.
Cool. My number 7 is a game that I was enamored by the theming and specifically the art. Mm-hmm. I don't remember the designer of this, but Vincent do trade art, and you are collecting artifacts for your museum. This is simply called Museum. I remember there was a big Kickstarter for it. There was a lot of press. The art was just fantastic, and apparently he did like 300 custom pieces of art just for this one game. Every card had its own artwork for it, which is awesome. I'm glad that they did that. And I remember a lot of people when they were like, "Oh yeah, we're getting the Kickstarter," where everyone the hype was building up. I was like, "Cool!" And I found it at a bookstore for a trade, and I was like, "Awesome! I've been wanting this. I've been really wanting to try it." Busted it open, played it. What in the world was that? That was the most convoluted thing. For going out of its way to be convoluted for something that should have been incredibly simple. You're just collecting sets of artifacts. That's all you're doing, really. But it has about 40 rules on how to do that. And even to the point, the best way I can explain my frustration with it, which kind of put the pin in the coffin, is that when you're laying out the sets of artifacts, you're putting them down in this row. You can have like a 5x5 grid or something, but the cards overlap themselves a little bit like this, And as you put a new card, you overlap it a little bit. So that way you're not just having this massive area of cards. But when you get the next one of the same color that would start a new set, you would want to put it in the next column. Makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. But that means that you need to rearrange your first column so that way it lines up with that, because you get bonuses for collecting a certain number of the same color. So let's say I get a blue card, then an orange card, then a green card, right? And then I get a second green card. Then that means I need to put it at the top of my second column, but then put my green from the first column on the bottom, so that way it lines up with it. But then if I get another yellow, it's like, well, then now I got to do that again. God forbid I'd get a third yellow before any of that happened. So and something that was trying to make it easier made it just that much more work for... I'm getting frustrated talking about it, and I actually had blocked this game out of my memory. It's not that big of a deal, and the people who like it, I get it. But because of just, like, when you have to adapt to make something simple, it doesn't make it simple, it makes it worse. And that I brought it right back to that same bookstore and traded it back the next time right after playing it. And by the way, I feel like this is a great opportunity. We're going to be bashing these games. And I should very much clearly say, we should have said this at the beginning, if you like this game, there is nothing wrong with you liking it.
It's just our personal decisions.
This was our personal letdowns. And that doesn't mean these games are bad.
I said that at the top. It's like, This doesn't mean these games are bad. It just didn't hit for me.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to be extra emphasizing this because I'm going to bash a game next about that one of our friends showed us. All right, ready?
Oh, God.
Number 6.
Oh, God. All right, flip it. All right. To me, speaking of friends of the podcast here, this is a game that I think may be on your short list or maybe be on your list here. And we talked about it in the top 8 debate last week. And this is Empire's End from John D. Clare. As much as I wanted to like this game, and I've liked pretty much a lot of John D. Clare games, if not all of them, that I have played. I haven't played every single one of his games, but I have not had a problem with any of them till we played this one. And the big problem with this one is the game is fine. It has some interesting decision space. You have some choices in it, but you don't really feel clever at all. It's all about mitigating the bad thing that's about to happen. It's like, okay, I got enough resources. I got to be able to pay these. Now I got to worry about making sure I get this in the right spot here because one of these things may be going out. I just don't know which one because you keep going down the line until you can trigger something that is basically gone for you. Sometimes you'll be able to rebuild rebuild it. Sometimes you're not. I got hosed in part of the game because the things that allowed me to rebuild were gone. And there's nothing I could do about it because the other things that I have built up already were my engine. So it's like, I got to let those go because I need to keep my engine going right now just to stay in the game. And as much as, it's beautiful. It has got some great artwork in it. There's a reason why it was an top 8 debate art style games. It is fantastic. But you don't feel clever. There's no momentum for you. You're just mitigating the entire game. I need to do this, but I have to do this. Oh God, this is going to happen. So maybe I should put this over here to protect it, and this way I can get this to trigger. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, it all depends on what's going to come up and what is going to end up triggering. And so, I wanted to like this game. I love a lot of John DeClaire. Space Base is still one of my favorite games. Kabitos was really fun when we played it. I have his solo game that I got to get off my pile of shame, but it looks really interesting. Oh, yeah. I love his card crafting stuff, even though some of them are really over the top aspects. But they're still fun. This one, I didn't feel clever. I didn't feel like I could gain any momentum. It was just mainly, and we talked about it, in the Year of the Dragon, Stefan Veld has that little bit of punishment on this one. This is like that ramp to the 10th degree. It's just like, I can't get anything going in this engine building game. My engine is basically being held together by duct tape and bubble gum. And it's just, I wanted to like it. But yeah, Empire's End was a letdown.
So this is not on my list, and I'll explain why. For two reasons. One, when John DeClaire joined us on the podcast, this game was already out, and he even said that, it's been less regarded as, compared to a lot of his other games. Mm-hmm. So I already was like, okay, I wanted that. And looking upon reviews prior to me getting it, I do remember seeing that. It's like, oh yeah, it's ranked kind of low considering. I wonder why this is one of those games that's like ranked low considering how good I know his designs are. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of going into it a little skeptical. And while I didn't dislike it, I didn't enjoy the game during it. And that's comparatively to his others. So was it a letdown? Yes. Was it as big of a letdown? Not as much compared to what I'm about to talk to. This game was one that I had on my wish list for a long time. And
I think I may know what this one is. I know it's from Damn It Dom.
No.
Oh, it was Gamehead Geek, huh?
Yeah, it was Gamehead Geek.
Yeah.
This was one on my play. No, it was you. No, I'm just kidding. This is on my wish list for a long time. I'm like, man, I've been wanting to play this game. I've been excited for it. This looks right up my alley. It looks silly. It looks fun. I'm excited for it. And Gamehead Geek brought it over and was like, all right, let's play it. And we played it. And I was like, wow, that was a lot of extra steps for this. Like, this sucked the fun out of a silly game. And this shouldn't be for anybody. This is Galaxy Trucker.
Oh my God, yes.
Did you forget about that one? Because Galaxy Trucker.
It was on my short list. It did not make my list. But oh my God, yes.
I had so much. It had everything in this game. A silly premise. Tile laying.
Yeah.
Like random shenanigans. Real-time element. I love all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And what this did, it made it like middleweight Euro style level of rules. Stuff changing every round, outstaying its welcome, and doing a lot of heavy lifting and a lot of work for random chance that you had no idea what was going to happen.
Well, I don't know where they're attacking from. Should I put my shield here or should I put my shield here?
Right, exactly. When there are games at random chance, like I love that premise too. Like it's like, yeah, you're building this ship out of scraps and duct tape, only for it to be blown up and all that stuff. That's funny. I love that idea. I actually replaced a different game called Yeet the Rich, and this replaced it because I remember it's like I remember expecting so much from it because this is the same idea, and I just realized like, wow. That could have been done about 40 ways differently, and all would have improved it.
Actually, this was on my short list. I didn't put it on because I went into it not expecting to enjoy it as much as most people. And the reason really thought I was because like it. A lot of times, this is when I was really heavy into Dice Tower.
Yeah.
Both Sam and Z didn't care for this game. Tom was the champion of it. Yes. And I was sitting there like, if these two, Tom is the Ameritrash guy, or right. Not Tom, Sam is an Ameritrash guy, and he's like,
no.
And Z's like, no, it's all random chance and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, so it's the same thing with you. You're expecting, had a lower.
I was expecting it, and I saw the same reviews, and I was still like, I'm like, I get their concerns. it still doesn't seem like it's a game that would bother me.
Yeah, you like silly.
I like silly. I'm okay with random. If it leads to just a hilarious moment, like the game of toppers that we're playing, that was silly. Like at one point, my friend Jim grabbed a topper and it went like flying up in the air, and then somebody else has grabbed it, smacked it. I was like, "I'll take that." That's hilarious. That's amazing. That makes a great game. And this didn't have that. It's like it was so procedural. There was so many extra steps of something that could have just been like, take some tiles, blow some crap up. We're done in 15 minutes, and that was silly.
Yeah.
I wish it was that, and it wasn't. So,
I remember.
Truckers.
I do remember that play of it. Now, I went in there thinking, okay, you know what? I don't know if I'm gonna like it because it just seems so random, and I like killing things with dice, and I can handle random.
Yeah.
This thing was like I could like after the first round, I'm like, yep, I see what they were saying, and nope. But my expectations were already going a little lower than you. You were really about, oh, this is cool. We get to play this now.
Here's what I did. Remember how I said it was on my Board Game Geek wish list for like many years, probably like 4 or 5 years prior to that. We played it, and right after I logged it, because we log all of our plays, I went to my Board Game Geek and took it off my playlist or off of my wish list. I was like, I've never taken one off that fast. And that was the first one I did. And it's nothing against Gamehead Geek. I'm sorry. Like, normally he does a better job of picking games that I like. But
he tends to have games that are really about the killing things with dice, and they tend to be good. We love the Borderlands one. We enjoyed the He-Man one. Sure. So those things are really cool. This one just, I wasn't enamored with.
It was lame.
Damn it, Dom and Gamehead Geek really do dig this one. So if they wanted to bust it out and play it, I'll play it just for them. But I
would play it for them, yes. There are some of these on this list I would not play again.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. I couldn't play Blackout Hunk. So, that's there. All right, so now we're going to go to our number 5. Here we go.
All right, staying with me. So this one that is on my list here was really a letdown because I love the predecessor of it. And this is like, oh, this is more of a gamer version of that game. Okay, I like the gamer version of that game. When I played it and looked at it and got it to the table and showed it to my other group, after already playing the predecessor, we were like, man, this is not streamlined at all. That other one was just quicker, snappier, made a lot more sense. The game I'm talking about is Lizard Wizard from Forbidden Games.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
The successor to Raccoon Tycoon. And this one has a lot more steps, a lot more kind of dungeon delving in a sense, because you're trying to do like a little push your luck as well. Your Raccoon Tycoon is a straight up economic game where you're trying to raise the prices of resources to gain those money to buy either a push your luck aspect to get a certain type of a railroad, or you're trying to get some buildings that will give you bonuses, or you can store more resources and that kind of stuff. So it felt really good. It felt really quick. One of the things that you like is those quick, snappy turns.
Yep.
Raccoon Tycoon had those. It's like, okay, this is up, that increased. Yeah. I'm going to sell these now. That's going to be my action because I'm going to get all this money and I'm going to use this for a later turn. Mm-hmm. Lizard Wizard took all of that and added an hour to the game. And it's just like, Raccoon Tycoon, I can play at 4 players, an hour and a half if I got new players. Lizard Wizard was 2 hours with people who've already played and know the concept of Raccoon Tycoon. That shouldn't happen when it's supposed to be the gamery version. You maybe at most add another 30 minutes or something like that. I could play Raccoon Tycoon with that same group in an hour, and that was with everybody learning that game. Lizard Wizard was 2 hours to 2.5 hours, and we're all just sitting there as like, there's no reason for us to have this when we have Raccoon Tycoon. And that was my big letdown there because, and a lot of people love Lizard Wizard, and I get it, I understand. It is a gamier version than Raccoon Tycoon, but not everything really needs a gamer version of it. So Lizard Wizard was my letdown for Forbidden Games, to the point where I haven't even tried the other Forbidden game that I wanted to try, which was the Empire game. I can't remember what it was called, but but it was looked really neat. Yeah. But it's just like, I'm not going to spend that money, especially after that disappointment. So.
Yeah, that we've soured the mood for you already. Yeah. That's a shame. This next one,
Mosaic. That's what it was called.
Oh yeah, Mosaic. This next one, I've never thought a designer should stay in their lane before. Like, I appreciate that when designers take risks and try new things, and that's cool. And use that what they've learned from one game into another. Corey Kineska is a great example of this. Like, he makes very different games, right? Yeah. Anything that's in the Unexpected Games catalog, they're all just wildly different. And that's a great example of, like, a diverse, really...
Gameography.
A really diverse gameography. Phil Walker Harding does that, too. He's doing, like, party games now. But, like, his stuff has been, like, family weight or some deep strategy, but simple, like all that stuff. And there's a lot of those designers that do that. This one, I already really liked the other games. And that are in, like, this series, kind of. It's kind of a series. And you're a big champion of this designer as well. And I remember meeting him. He was a really nice guy. Made a really interesting system. I know I'm kind of going around it. And he was known for dungeon crawls. But when he made a Euro game, I was like, okay. And he even put the same title in the game. This is Isaac Childress, who made the Founders of Gloomhaven. So I was like, cool, a midweight Euro game set in Gloomhaven. Dope, I'm in. You had me at that. Yes, that sounds great. Mm-hmm. And his system for the combat in Gloomhaven was really smart. And his dungeon crawling was really immersive. So I'm like, cool. He'll probably have some really interesting theming in the Founders of Gloomhaven. But then I found out that you put down tiles, and paths can go diagonally from those tiles. Meaning one tile could potentially go in 8 directions. Not cleanly. They're like 1 inch by 1 inch tiles. That was the start of it. And having other tiles like connect corners doesn't hinder that path, which it should technically, but technically not. And then give everybody their own abilities for essentially a really drawn out, long, outstaying its welcome Euro game. We stopped this game, I think, midway.
I haven't played it, so...
You hadn't played it. I started playing it, and by hour 2, we just put it away.
We're done.
Yeah.
And I remember, because I was immediately on the next trip.
Yeah. I would applaud him if he attempts another Euro game. That's fine. And I might attempt it and play it. But Founders of Gloomhaven had, 1, no reason to be published, and 2... you haven't distracted us Till now. For 1, it shouldn't have been a Euro, or he needs to stay in his lane. I mean, that's what it is. I will appreciate if he ever does it. I might play it again, but I will definitely never buy anything outside of Gloomhaven that is not a flat-out Gloomhaven game. Ever. Because of Founders of Gloomhaven. It shouldn't have been called Gloomhaven, honestly. It should have just been Founders. And then just go with it, right?
Yeah.
But that expectation just dropped so hard when I played it. So that was Founders Gloomhaven. I don't mean to bash it too much, but that's...
I mean, you like one of his other games. That isn't Gloomhaven.
Which is...
Return to Dark Tower.
Oh, yeah. Return to Dark Tower is dope. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a dual design, yeah, but... and he was there mainly for story, but, like... Yeah, like, don't try Euro mechanisms unless you really know what you're doing. So, alright.
Moving on to number 4.
And you can type more than when you're prompted. Please make comments on stuff. On to our number 4s. Here we go. Top half.
Hey, me again.
Yep.
I wonder how that's going. The magician over here. Alright, so my number... my number 4 is... a letdown because I like its successors more than I like this one. And I really wanted to get into this. I actually picked it up on a sale. I like the other 2 games that are kind of in this style. I love the theme that's on it.
Yeah.
But it just does not hit for me. I'm like, oh my god, this is way too convoluted for what it needs to be do. And this is a living card game. I love Arkham Horror, the living card game, or the card game, and I also love Marvel's Champions. I think those are fantastic games. I like what they do. They're fun solo games. The one that was really a big letdown for me, and I immediately sold it after I finished playing it, as one of those that you were talking about, was Lord of the Rings, the card game. And it has way too many steps for what it's got to do. You got to make sure you deck build just perfectly because you need this to trigger that, or you need this to fight that, or you need this to do that. And it's like, well, how am I supposed to know these are coming up? Because I don't really know what's in the enemy deck until I build it.
Yep.
And so this is the deck I'm running. And it's just, the artwork is fantastic, but it was like, okay, I got to do this, but I need these 3 cards. And then the cards, it tells you, oh, just run these because this way you can learn how to play the game. Those cards, one, are fine, but they don't move the game along in a sense because you're basically just playing one set of cards, all the, let's say, the hobbits and stuff like that. Whereas I need a dwarf and I need a ranger because I need to fight these certain things which require these cards. Well, guess what? That's not in my deck. So I tried it again by building my own deck. And it's like, it's too many steps, especially before we even get started in the game. Oh, I got to do this. I got to get this. I got to pull this into my deck. Okay, now that I'm done. Now let's play the game. Oh, I got to do this step. I got to do this step. Whereas Arkham Horror is fine. Here's your deck. Now, I'm going to go investigate this. I got to do a check. I got to go investigate this. I got to do a check. Oh, I got to go fight this thing over here. So let me do a check based on that, based on my card play. Works really good. Marvel Champions, pretty simple. I play cards, I beat up thing beats me back.
Yeah.
Pretty simple. This one is like, no, I do this, I gotta do this. I spend more time building my deck than actually playing the game, and for me, that was a big problem. Now, for those who like it, I know why it's a favorite. It has some really cool concepts, but it's not for me because it's too many steps. When I'm playing these kind of card games, I don't want to spend 30 to 40 minutes to build a deck. Just give me my deck and let me play. It's that kind of thing. And this one, it takes too much time just in setup. And that was my big issue with it. And that is Lord of the Rings, the card game.
That's a good reason. All right, so this next one was from a couple of designers that I didn't know much about. But then I had played a couple of their games prior to that. And I thought, these are really smart, elegant systems. And these designers were starting to impress me. And then they announced that they're going to do another game that was going to be a Kickstarter, and it has an even cooler theme, a bigger production, and a much cooler premise. And it's totally different game, but I was like, okay, they've steered me good so far. But I was like, this game is just too expensive for me to back on Kickstarter, so I didn't do it. And I am so glad I didn't, because I dodged a bullet hard on that. This is Tidal Blades of the Eisner Brothers. My friend David Dom showed me this. And I played Grim Forest and then Grim Masquerade. And I picked those up and I was like, okay, I'll give them a try. And I wasn't expecting much. So I played them. I was like, these are smart systems. I really enjoy this. I was like, who are these Eisner Brothers that are on these guys? Like, this is beautiful. And then Tidal Blades comes along. And I love that beach nautical theme. And the pieces are beautiful, and I would have gone 110% into it if I had the money at the time. But
those dice are really nice too.
Those dice are great. The pieces are great. And I was like, so far the other games are super simple. Maybe that's their design space. This will be like a worker placement. Simple, awesome. Oh man, I was wrong. When we played this, I was so upset.
Another one on my short list.
Yeah, I was really, really upset with this because I was like, this is totally different than what they've done before. Mm-hmm. It would have been better had I not known about Grim Masquerade and Grim Forest before that. Mm-hmm. It would have improved it if I had not known about those games, because then I wouldn't have expected that.
Yeah.
Because those are the smart, beautiful little system, and they put a great production to that smart system. Because of Tidal Blades, I haven't played Grim Forest hardly at all since I've owned it.
My issue with this game was, what is it trying to be? Because
right.
you're running a race, but then you have to go fight the monsters. Then you have to go do this action as well. You get to collect resources to get dice. And the dice thing was cool, but then you lose those dice. You don't get to keep them basically throughout the thing. And you have to keep upgrading those dice. And it's just like...
Yeah. Why am I going to put this much effort into these dice when I know I'm going to expend them?
Yeah, especially since I know I need the red die, because we got to go fight this thing and it requires the red die. But what's the point? Because I'm going to spend all these resources to get that red die.
Right.
while I'm still trying to do this race over here.
And they were trying to build like this world involved with it, and that was the wrong game for them to start with. Now, Tidal Blades 2, which again should not be called Tidal Blades 2. I mean, I get that it's a Tidal Blades game. It's a dungeon crawl, like scenario-based dungeon crawl. That you shouldn't call it 2 if it's a completely different game.
Well, than Tidal Blades Banner Festival is another one.
Yeah, it's like a trick-taking game. What are you doing? At least they didn't call it Tidal Blades 2.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
Like, they called it Banner Festival.
Yeah.
It's just so that tells me it's in the Tidal Blades universe. Okay, and it's about the Banner Festival. Okay, it can be a different mechanism.
Honestly, I agree with you.
This is Tidal Blades 2. You went from a worker placement, convoluted, to a dungeon crawl. What are you doing?
You could have just called it Tidal Blades, what is it, Rise of the Unfolders, and it would have worked.
Yeah. Yeah, leave out the 2. Leave out the 2.
But that's not your disappointment. Tidal Blades is your disappointment.
Tidal Blades was my disappointment. And don't get me wrong, we've been playing Tidal Blades 2, and it's not bad. It's just, man,
it's my second favorite of the Tidal Blade system.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, going from the Grim system onto Tidal Blades, I was so hyped because of that theme. I'm like, there needs to be more beach nautical themes. I love that theme. And it was bright, colorful. The art is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Oh my god,
that was such good art.
I still consider buying this game because of how pretty that artwork is. Mr. Cuddington, is that the artist?
I think so.
Yeah, fantastic artist.
All right, let's move on to our number 3s before you get back on the Tidal Blades rant.
Yep, number 3.
Hey,
and thankfully from here on out, it's not games that you guys have shown me. These are ones that were all self-inflicted.
Hey, I didn't make this list, so I'm good.
I made this list, and I'm hurting a little bit. My number 3 was one of the prettiest game. You know what? I'm starting to realize how I should go more for uglier games, because that's been giving me more
I don't know.
Success
you brought Frederica's to this house, so
yeah, but I'm still getting more success out of ugly right now, because this game. Well, first off, it had a provenance that Brett J. Gilbert and Matthew Dunstan made this game together. And it had some of the most incredible art I've ever seen. And, yeah, it wasn't the Euro beige. It was beautiful, vibrant colors. All the pieces were custom made. They were looking really good. And this is from a company that knows how to produce a good game. This is from Flat Out Studios. Or not Flat Out Studios. Floodgate Games. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
It's from Floodgate, and they made Sagrada, and they kind of advertised this game like, "This is the next Azul." I was like, "Okay, if Matthew Dunstan and Brett J. Gilbert, they have a chance to do that, right?" Mm-hmm. And you have this really cool premise and beautiful art and good pieces. And
can I guess?
Yeah.
Is it Decorum?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Oh, no, it's the other one with the elephant on the cover.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Vivid Memories.
It's not as bad as I'm making out to seem. But don't you go calling it an Azul killer. That was mistake number 1. That was mistake number 1. I was like, now I gotta compare it to Azul. And that's one of my top 10 games of all time. But okay. And here's the thing. It's not that it's terrible. Because it's not terrible.
It didn't live up to the hype in his mind.
But they built that up. It was you're building brain paths of connections on your brain using these cool trapezoidal piece, not trapezoidal, rhombus shaped pieces, and you're building routes.
What'd you call me?
Yeah, you heard me. You're building routes from one spot to another, trying to get sets of it, and you're doing like an Azul style draft where tokens come out, and you can take all of the color and add it to your board, and it didn't work. It was the worst game that I've ever played from those two guys. And it's not because it functionally doesn't work. It's because the sum of the parts is more work than anything that it gave from you. Everything had an exception on how it had to work. It's yeah, you can take these tiles. But unless this is you can take this tile. But, well, only if it doesn't have it. Okay, fine. I want to make a catch here. Only if you fill in the hex already, right? It's like, stop stop pulling me in and then pulling me right back out. I wanted to like this so bad. And I remember I showed this out at my shop and everyone had that same reaction. They're like, what is this trying to do? Like, what are we trying to do with it?
Not his shop, the shop he works at.
Yeah. And I was like, I wish I could tell you that. And like, well, nobody said they disliked it. Nobody talks about this anymore. And there's a reason for that. And I was just like...
The cover looks really cool, but after you told me and described it to me, I was like...
cool.
No, I'm good.
Everything looks cool in it. It has Azul quality components. It's beautiful. I need to... Y'all are making me stick to ugly games now. That's my number 3.
My number 3, you mentioned it, kind of. You mentioned its predecessors in this game. You mentioned that your number 3 was supposed to kill its granddaddy. But for me, this game was by far one of the biggest disappointments when it comes to a series of games, which we do like a lot of.
Yeah.
We just recently played the dual version of this game. I know which one this is. And this is Azul Queen's Garden. And we're going to talk about it a little bit later because somebody else probably has this higher on his list. But it was really a letdown. And it's because the scoring was so convoluted. I had so much issues with this one. It's like, oh, but if I do this and do that. And then the somebody was trying to teach us or kind of explaining. And I'm like, and then you were reading the rules of how the scoring works. And both you and me are like, wait, what? We're supposed to do what? And how is this pattern going to work? And it's like, Azul, straightforward game. You take tile, you put in pattern.
Yes.
Summer Pavilion, you take tile, you put it in pattern based on how many you're taking of that certain thing. Makes sense. Same thing with the stained glass. The only step is you have to put it in the pattern, but it can't go behind where your thing is on the thing, or you have to reset that. Very simple stuff. The only reason the stained glass is the lowest, or was the lowest on my list, is because I couldn't see the dice or the tiles all that well because they're translucent. Other than that, this thing was so convoluted, and it looked gorgeous. Don't get me wrong. We were both really excited to play this, and then you and me played it, and we were like, this is an Azul game?
Yeah, it shouldn't have been.
No, and it's so convoluted with the scoring. That was my big drawback. It was the way it's supposed to score. Oh, wait, huh? This has to score that, but I need to make sure I have a bunch of these on there, too? It's like the bird pattern or this and that pattern. It's just like, it was so confusing to the point, like, I haven't even looked at this game ever again. And to the point where Gamehead Geek was talking about it, he's a big Azul fan. He even mentioned that how this was a big disappointment for him as well, because he could bust out Azul and play it with his wife and his other friends group, and they did not want to touch it because there was so much going on. They played it the one time, and they're like, this is not Azul. And I feel the same way. And Board Game Bard may disagree with me, but it just was way too convoluted for what it's trying to do. And so for me, it was my number 3 disappointment. Azul Queen's Garden.
Yep. On to our number 2s. Sure, we'll go there. I caught it sideways in my hand. Alright, my number 2. Every other game on this list...
Hey, Masmos.
Hey, Masmo. Every other game on this list has its audience. Mm-hmm. I get that. Like, yeah. Again, if you like this game, I get why you like it, and you see why we're upset. This is the only one that has no audience. This was
one you made?
An absolute... I knew you would say that at some point. This was an absolute trash dumpster fire of an experience. I'll tell you what I did with this game. I said at the beginning during my honorable mention, I really like escape rooms. I co-own an escape room business. I go to a lot of escape rooms. I'm okay with escape room in a box. Sometimes they're not as good as others. That's fine. Some of them have decent premises. That's fine. Yeah, thank you, Board Game Bard. Back me up on this. And almost every escape room in a box I can appreciate to a level of extent.
Okay.
And when you add a new style to it, and you're like, ooh, we even have a cooler twist and a really great theme. Okay, I'm in, right? This is called Break-In Alcatraz. And it's not... It's like an escape room, right? Except you're not escaping it. you're breaking into the box. And it's cool. It has cool components, right? It has art. It's exciting. And a cool theme. You're getting out of Alcatraz. Awesome. And as you progress, you open up the packaging, which is a weird amorphous hexagon, which already is a little weird. There's no packaging that works for it. But then you start opening up. Here's the thing. When you give clues in an escape room or find a solution, it should work, first off. But secondly, it should be clear as to whether you are correct in proceeding or not. The way this does it, you have these little cardboard tabs, and they have some colors on it, and you slide it into a slot. And you put it, if you have it on the corresponding tab in the right spot, you'll see a little spot on it that'll be either green or red. Great. Again, I'm colorblind. And this little slot is about that big. So I didn't know if it was green or red. But that's fine. My friend was not colorblind. Total fine. Problem solved, right?
Yeah.
No problem. Then you open it up. And when you're in an escape room with a group of people, you should be able to see the things, right? There's one puzzle in here. I'm straight up spoiling it. I don't care. Don't play this. There's one part where it's a jail cell. And you have to look at like what was carved into the walls of the jail cell. Cool. Meaning you're taking a little cardboard box that's like, the size of the bottom half of this water bottle. And one person is going like this, trying to look. And you're sitting there scratching your butt because you got nothing to do. Because that's the one part. And you're trying to do it. And you can't quite get the angle until you bend the component a little bit. Then you can kind of see it. And you're like, I don't think I'm supposed to be doing this. But then you head to the other person. They're like, no, the only way I can see this. Because the cardboard parts of the bars are too thick. So you can't see the whole piece of the clue. If you had any problem with eyesight, you'd be screwed. And on top of that, there's a cool little puzzle where you're building pipes together. There's an error in the puzzle. They found out online that it's actually wrong. It's actually wrong.
Sorry for our headphone users.
I am sorry. It was flawed. You can't find that out until you go online and actively seek spoilers to find out if the puzzle is wrong. Shame on you. This was...
I'm surprised it's not your number one. You're going on a rant here.
This was just so obnoxious. Board Game Bard threw it in a bonfire. I normally get conflicted when I have an escape room in a box. If it's unlocked, I can give it to somebody. That's fine. I can resell it. If it's an escape, you have to consume some of the stuff. So that's fine. I'll use the box for that. I curb stomped this game. I tore it apart. This was a 2. And the only reason it got a 2 out of 10 for me is because the theme was cool. They were going to do an Area 51 version. I haven't seen it. I think they pulled the plug on it.
You know what's funny? This is the second time I've heard this rant, and I still am amused by it.
This was so bad. If this was your first experience in a mobile escape rooms, you would hate escape rooms from this. You'd be like, I will die every time. This was the worst thing portable escape room that I've ever played, and have still to this day will tell you any other mobile escape room that I've done leaps and bounds above this. I have my favorites, but nothing is bad as escape room or break-in Alcatraz.
That is crazy.
So obnoxious.
Again, sorry for our headphone listeners. That make sure you put your volume down just slightly.
Yeah, sorry.
But
Board Game Bard found out. Yeah, it's like there's an actual incorrect. There's a typo.
Yeah,
and it's wrong.
So it's interesting for me. That was your number 2. The way you went on the rant there. I know what your number 1 is.
You do know,
but I'm surprised.
So
hold on, I got to do my number 2.
Oh yeah. But when we get to number 1s, I'll just start because you know what it is.
All right, so my number 2 is a game that was a big letdown for me because I really do enjoy the other 2 that are in this line. I love the original to the point it's in my top 100, if I remember correctly. Probably in the top 20. Mm-hmm. It's been a while since I looked at that list. And its follow-up sequel is a quicker version of that game. So I was really excited because they were talking like, this is going to be this game's version of Roll for the Galaxy. And I was like, okay. And I backed the Kickstarter and I was really looking forward to it. And for me, this is by far the worst of the trilogy of Terraforming Mars. This is Terraforming Mars, the dice game.
Ooh.
I love the base game.
Ooh.
It just goes a little long.
I'm glad I haven't played this.
I love Ares Expedition, I think is what it's called, the little follow mechanism aspect of that game. I love what this is doing, and it's a quicker version. So if you want a small version of Terraforming Mars, Ares Expedition is perfect for you. If you want a large version, Terraforming Mars is great for you. But the dice game was so bad. Yeah. The iconography is ridiculous. What most people think is a reroll is telling you to flip the die over or do something with it. The iconography is just out of the realm. Like, what is this trying to tell you?
Yeah.
The gameplay itself is super bland. You don't really feel clever, and again, it's a dice game, so how are you going to really feel clever? But there's not a lot of mitigation for you to get the dice that you need to do. It is just, I won't touch this, and so others are saying like they didn't bother with this one, and it's a good thing that you guys didn't bother with this one, because it is not a good game, to the point like I played it 2 times because I was like, I need to try it again just to make sure. It immediately went in my sell pile after the second playthrough. I was like, nope, it's gone. And I'm surprised I even gave it that second shot. But because the iconography is that is the main thing about here, is like everybody has played dice games. We all know what the reroll is.
Yeah.
That's not what it is in this game. They had a whole different other icon for reroll. Yep. And it's like, but that's the reroll icon. What are you doing here? It is by far, oh my god. I despise this comparative to the other two. Yeah. This is when I talked about it in the last one and what your number one is, I would play Queen's Garden Azul over this game again, because it's too much. It is not a roll for the galaxy. It is the worst of the Terraforming Mars. It did not live up to the hype I was excited for, because I love the other 2 Terraforming Mars. If I want the full experience, I'm going to go with the big game. If I want a quick experience that has a really cool mechanism, the follow action that we all like, Ares Expedition is my go-to. This game, throw it in the bin or resell it and make it someone else's problem.
Yep.
Terraforming Mars, the dice game.
I'm really curious to see what your number 1 is, because I don't have the slightest clue. But you said it. You know what my number 1 is, and there's no surprise.
I'm surprised this is your number 1 after the rant you just went on.
This is the reason why it's my number 1, and that's because I didn't know when you go into a new escape room, like style, there's always a hesitation of like, oh well, like.
What's it going to do?
Yeah. How's it going to give me the clues? How's it going to find this out? And I, it wasn't, it was a huge letdown just because it was a failure of an escape room, but it wasn't that big because it was a new system that I hadn't seen before. Now, if Unlock did that, or like people who did Exit did that and mess it up that bad, then yeah, it would have been a much bigger letdown. But it was a new one that just has no right making escape rooms.
However, this one
is I haven't said the name of the game yet, but this is Daniel's number 3. This is Azul Queen's Garden. And now here's the reason why. I adore Azul. My wife plays Azul. My wife doesn't play games. She plays Azul. Like, that's how much we're willing to play in our house. My kids like Azul a lot. Second one, even though there's some color blindness issues, I still really like the system that they did. Step up. Cool. I like being able to reset your bars. I like those pieces. The pieces and components, or the pieces and components are beautiful, right? Like, I mean, they're pretty, and it brings out the theme of stained glass. Third one, Summer Pavilion. Man, getting even better, right? Like, it's getting good and good and good. And then when I heard about the 4th one, I'm like, awesome. It looks good. But they changed it so much from its fundamental core that there's nothing that you can take from the original 3 that makes sense in this one and how different it is. It shouldn't have been an Azul game. First off, you're playing Dixit style. In order to place your tiles down, you have to have either the same color and different shape, or same shape and different color. You can't have duplicates, which doesn't make sense, really. Like, I mean, you should be able to have duplicates in there. You just can't place a duplicate. that would have cleaned it up. Problem solved, right? But no, they don't do that. They have Joker tiles, which are gorgeous, but you can only get those by filling in those patterns that you might be lucky on, right? Mm-hmm. If some people get them over the others, right? I don't like that very specific restrictions of, in order to place it down, it must be part of a grouping that is either the same color and different shape or same shape and different color. Like, that's Dixit style. And that doesn't work with hexagons. Because, and here's the problem with that, there is 6 different colors and 6 different shapes. Cool. If you have hexagons put together and there's one and there's enough surrounding it, that's 7 hexagons. That mathematically doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. I don't need to tell you this. That doesn't make sense. So that's already flawed. Then you add the extra level of just convolution. I like the bonus spots, but sure, it's not random. You have this big old giant dial, which already doesn't sit well in the box, that you have to put 2 pieces of thin cardboard together and put a push pin to connect them. That's just ridiculous. But anyway, you're moving it around, and you're getting these same bonuses that you'd get that you could just use a track to show. Okay, fine. Whatever, make me pay more. Sure, whatever. But then, the one fundamental thing, you don't score it in any way that you do in any other Azules. It's not how many you have in your group. No, you have to have a minimum of 3 to score, and it's scored based on the size of the set, assuming you meet those parameters as said earlier. Why? Why are you doing this? Like, that, it was so frustrating. Michael Kiesling made another game called Outback, and it's you're putting animals, you're rolling sets of dice, and you're putting hexagonal shaped animals, and you're trying to group them together in that way. That honestly felt more of an Azul game than Summer Garden or Queen's Garden. That could have been Azul the dice game, and it would have worked. They could have done that. I don't know why they didn't do that. And so, like, I know some people complain about Azul Duel. It's like, yeah, it's kind of convoluted. It's like, no, play Queen's Garden. That Azul Duel is more true to the original series. Maswell just asked about it. Azul Duel, I liked. It did the original stuff for the original series, but added a few more levels to it, a little bit more nuance to it. It went the correct direction where Queen's Garden went wrong.
Yeah.
I think that I no longer call Azul Duel part of an Azul game. It's Azul the 4th.
Oh, yeah.
It's the 4th in the series, and Queen's Garden just should not be canon. Yeah. That's really what it is. That was the 4th game is Azul Duel.
Retcon.
Yeah. That's what it should be.
I agree.
And that's why taking one of my favorite games of all time and just just making it so different, changing it so much. It's like it's the boat conundrum, right? You know, take away a piece of a boat and repair it. It's still the same boat, right? But at what point do you take away too many pieces? When is it no longer still the same boat? If you have a rock band and it doesn't have the original singer, original guitarist, or original drummer, but it has a bassist who played for him for a few years.
But it's not the original.
But it's not the original. Like, is that still the same band? Why are you calling it the same thing? That's what Azul Queen's Garden is you took it away all of the original stuff, added in new stuff, and yet still calling it the same. How dare you?
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. That was why it was my number 3, our only crossover on this list. That's kind of cool. So my number 1, I've told you this before. It's also Gamehead Geeks, one of his biggest disappointments ever and letdowns. This was both of ours, Gamehead Geeks, first Kickstarter game. We were promised a campaign-style game, and it literally, the campaign of it is the same game. Yep. Every time they just take pieces away. And so if you don't have enough pieces to put on the board, then you lose. That's all it does. It's the same game every time. And this is Ghostbusters, the board game from IDW or Cryptozoic. I think it was Cryptozoic. It has got fun artwork. I love Ghostbusters. Yeah. That is one of my favorite. That was one of the movies I grew up watching as a kid. Shockingly enough, my parents let me watch that as a kid.
I know. Looking back on it, it's like, wow.
Wow.
Different times.
2 more than 1, but yeah. It's just, it was my first Kickstarter. It promised campaign. Yes, that is why I backed, because it was Ghostbusters. Yep. It had really cool minis. They were kind of neat. The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man was really neat. And then you got a special exclusive one that glow in the dark, which was really good. Yeah, exactly. You're not going to call this game. It is because every single game that it promised a campaign style game was exactly the same. Oh, I got to take out 10 of these ghosts and we have to reach this goal. We're done. Now the second game. Okay, change up the map a little bit. Now you have 8 ghosts you got to take out. Okay, let's change up the map a little bit. All right, you have 6 ghosts and 4 ghosts and 3 ghosts. And if you run out of ghosts, then you lose the game. It was literally the same thing with just slightly different maps and less monsters. And it did not do what it promised. And that's why it was a big letdown for me. It's like, I like what it does here. I love the minis. I think it's a fantastic artwork. It's really cool. I want a good Ghostbuster game because that is my childhood. And it just did not go well. To the point, both me and Gamehead Geek have sold our copies of it.
Yep.
And
that was almost worth keeping it for the components, which were also like break real easy too.
They weren't fantastic. They even sent me after I had already sold the game a new copy of games or creatures that I don't even know where I put them. I think they're in a box somewhere because they were like the flush zombie or something like that. Yeah. It was disappointment that's the thing. This is my biggest letdown because it was such a disappointment. It didn't live up to the promise. The component quality wasn't all that great. The minis looked cool, but they broke very easily. The best thing that had of it was the extra glow in the dark Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. And that was it. That was the only thing I really did enjoy it. And like, you know what? I can get a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man 3D printed with the glow in the dark stuff. Hands down, my biggest disappointment because, first Kickstarter. I was really excited for him. Like, all right, I'm finally going to back a Kickstarter. And Hit Me was better Kickstarter quality. Your original version of Hit Me.
Thank you. Wow. What a backhanded compliment if I've ever heard it. Talk about letdowns.
Because Hit Me was my second Kickstarter.
That's true. It was. and you were the first.
I was the first one to back it. But all in all, I may give him grief. I do like Hit Me. This game, on the other hand...
You'd play this over Ghostbusters easily.
Oh, yeah. To the fact I own a copy back there somewhere.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I put it in one of those. But all in all, Ghostbusters, the board game, was by far the biggest letdown for me on board game wise and the biggest letdown for me Kickstarter. But going back to my audible mention, Stellaris is giving it a run for its money on the Kickstarter stuff.
You're still hopeful.
I'm still hopeful.
In a level of hopeful.
Yeah.
Whew. We've aired some grievances in this episode, haven't we?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to thank you so much for tuning in. Masmo, Board Game Bard, thank you guys for saying that. And yeah, who are you going to call? Not this game. I love that comment. That was so good. We enjoy it when you guys join us on live episodes. But again, we have a contest running. You heard in the episode, our code phrase is Salvador Dali. So email us at everydayboardgames2020@gmail.com with contests in the subject line and in the body. Put that code phrase, Salvador Dali, and put a way for us to contact you.
Again, Continental USA. Right now, we just can't afford to ship elsewhere.
That's right. And Instagram.com/everydayboardgames. Go follow us there, so that way you'll get notified whenever we make silly posts or talk about what we're playing and get entered into the contest.
All video re-uploads and reviews are found under youtube.com/@everydayboardgames. And if you like what we do, there are 3 things you can do to help us grow on the platform. Get a ticket by subscribing to us, like the video, and comment down below and tell us your thoughts on the subject.
And also, we'd like to stream our episodes live at twitch.tv/everydayboardgames. Another way for us to give you more tickets to enter in our contest. And if you subscribe there, that would just be really awesome to get a subscription.
We appreciate you.
It's a financial thing, but again, it really helps us out with the podcast. But at least get notified when we do a live episode, like Masmo and Board Game Bard and anybody else who joined us in today.
And all audio versions can be found on most podcast platforms under Everyday Board Games Podcast. This includes Spotify, Amazon Music, Podbean, and Apple.
So we want to thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I've been your host, Daniel.
And I've been your host, Daniel.
And we want to thank you for listening to Everyday Board Games.
And remember, every day is a good day for board gaming.